Hey, I'm Jeff Straw here at Pyramind, the Director of Marketing, and I'm joined here with Skytye for our next episode of The Breakdown.
Yeah. Hey! I can see you through that glass, water rolling down your back, baby. Hey, and I was sipping when you threw it on me. Oh, sunsetting on your frame, my ukulele, baby. Yeah. Ooh, I tried to forget you, but I can still remember. Threw you in the water, hey, little sunset stone and we do what we wanna, yeah. So we did it in the sauna. I wish that I could go back in time when I was yours and you were mine. Cause I tried to forget you, but I can still remember you. Yeah.
So, what's up, Skylar?
How's it going, everybody? We're looking at this track I just finished up last month called I Still, currently available on Spotify and iTunes, and we're taking a look at the session in Reason.
Yes, we just heard you play through the track, and I know that you're a big fan of the songwriting piece of production, probably more so than the production, right?
Much more so.
Right? Like, you really want to make sure the song stands on its own. That's why we had you just kind of sing and play through on the guitar. Talk about your songwriting process just a little bit.
So, for me, being a producer, as fun as it is and as interested as I am in the elements of production, it's not the most fun part. It's a lot of technicality involved, a lot of patience. So for me, the faster I can make the production process, the happier I'm going to be, and the more quality the music is. So what I do is I sit down with an instrument, usually it's piano or guitar or ukulele, and I flush through the song entirely and write it and get it as far along on the production line as possible before I delve into the computer. That way, not only is the recording process faster, not only am I more well rehearsed, but the song is more exact to how I want it, instead of letting the production or the arrangement be dictated by lack of preparation.
That's awesome. So your arrangement is pretty much set going in.
Absolutely.
But you don't necessarily stick to that 100%. Like I know you said you sometimes write ad-lib vocals, things like that you'll do on the fly once you do get into the recording process. But the bare bone skeleton of the song is done before you open Reason.
Every time, if possible.
Cool. That's great.
But yeah, the program ends up writing part of it all the time, because you'll be listening to the track, you'll be analyzing the flow of the song, and you'll think to yourself, well, this clearly has to change. And then that's okay. Then you're also writing in the program.
Cool. So for me, one of the nice things, and there's a lot of nice things about this track, it's definitely just a great vibe all in all. You said it was inspired by a trip to Hawaii, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's got that island vibe. I mean, you killed that.
Womp,
Let's talk
womp.
about the guitar. Exactly. How did you process the guitar, and did you track all this whole thing here at Pyramind?
Everything was tracked here at Pyramind.
Okay.
And I usually use an amplifier and record separately through an actual physical amplifier, similar to what's to my right. But I found this plugin for a guitar, which is an amp modeler within Reason, and it has this beautiful wah sound to it. Wah, 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 wah. And for me, when I find something that works, if it works, it works. You know, I don't try and go find, the next best thing. If it works, it works. Let's get it done. So I found that plugin, and it's somewhere around here. It's called Wah Wah, conveniently. But it gave me that old school, almost Marvin Gaye sound to it, tropical vibes, and it almost dictated the track from that point further.
So you got a bunch of guitar patches going on. It looks like, or guitar takes. Are they all being bussed through that effect, or did you record them all with the effect on, and then the hard audio has the effect, so you kind of printed it as you went?
So I printed it as I went.
Okay,
what I
cool.
did is
You made the decision up front and said, I love this, let's just go with it.
went straight away with it. And,
that saves a lot of time.
I kind of edited it a bit as I went,
Sure.
But what I did to give it a different, more big feel, because sometimes plugins sound a bit thin compared to amps.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I recorded the main one and boosted it up, duplicated it, panned them out to the side, so I have two of the same, and EQ'd them separately. So what you get is more of a bigger sound for the guitar, because it's a fundamental part of the music. It's what it was written on, and it's the backbone of the music, besides the banger 808.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Let's play a little bit of that, just so they can hear what we're talking about.
Tried to forget you. I still. I can still remember. You know, I still remember those.
Here. So the second thing, and I'm glad we we'll cycle through this kind of timeline wise, is that string part. And you and I just talked a little bit about that string part, but it's really nice. It doesn't sound like, oh, it's a total corny single string patch.
Yeah.
And you did a little bit of sound design to it to really make it sound fuller and thicker. So talk about what you did. The line itself is pretty simple, but the sound is really nice. So I think the two things combine to make a really kind of compelling string part.
And it was one of those things, and as a producer you'll know this, is when something falls together perfectly, because it's usually not that way. So you know when something falls together easily. And this sound fell together in the way that I started with a violin, a simple Reason plugin, and I wrote the line da da na 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 da da, and got that down. So I'm thinking to myself at this point, okay, this sounds great. The intelligence of the music is there. Now we have to make it sound fat. We have to
maybe just solo the violin and just play it by itself to hear like kind of how. Yeah, it's a little weak. Right?
A little bit weak.
Right.
So what I was thinking is by using different instruments along with panning, we can create a bigger sound, something that's going to cut through, because this is the main theme, as I call it, of the music. This is something people are going to hear in their head. It's going to get stuck in your head, and it will, I promise. So what I did is I started with the violin, as you can hear here, and I'm thinking, okay, let's make it fatter. So I find an organ and a trem string, which is another type of string, and by combining those in a combinator and panning them out to the sides, it creates a much fuller sound. So here we have the regular violin, the side violin, piano. So then, when you get the attack of the piano, dun, 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 you can't hear necessarily that it's a piano, but what you feel that it's hitting. So by combining the textures of these different instruments, it allowed me to create a main theme that was very present, and it kind of satisfied what that as a melody line is supposed to do, which is get stuck in your head and have a sound that kind of blends with everything but comes through at the same time.
Nice. The 808. You mentioned the 808, and it hits pretty hard, you know, especially on a nice system. It sounds really good. So how do you keep them in tune? How do you know that the line is what you want? And what do you use for your 808 sound? Are you just using a sine wave through something, or?
So 808s can be tricky, like you said, with finding the tonality to match, because at such a low frequency, it gets kind of swampy. You get a little messy in there.
Swampy.
And not in the good bluesy way, in like the I do not know what the heck I'm playing type of way. So, you know, what I did in order to get the frequency correct, basically in order to write the right notes without getting lost in it, is I wrote it an octave higher. So I wrote the notes higher up so that I could really understand that that's the right note, and then transpose it down an octave to get that boom, that rumble that you love to feel in your chest at the show. So as a result, we get something like this.
So you just got an 808 patch preset on the Thor that then you sort of use as your starting point, and then you tweak away from there?
Yeah, so
Are you automating anything, or is it pretty static and you're just using the notes?
It's pretty static. I could definitely automate, but I really like the old school feel of the 808s. I really like the old school style of music in general, and the originality and the feel that you get from that old school banger hip hop, that heavy sustained 808 that just kind of rumbles your trunk. Hopefully your license plate's secured firmly to the back of your car so we don't hear it. Seriously, Oakland. I'm talking to you.
I can admit, in Florida, I had a car that had the rattling. Anyways.
It sounds good on the inside, not on the outside. Furthermore, Yeah, so I started with a 808 as I always do because I love this 808.
Okay.
I've been working with Reason for like 5 years now. It's my baby. So I loaded up the 808 and I changed. They have presets in the 808. Like they have it going with a sine wave and a triangle wave, and I just move it all. I move it all around to how I want. So I changed the frequency filter. That I bump up the drive a little bit. The sustain is through the roof, so that's why you hear boo constantly.
Full
bore hip hop music, because we like to shake. And I just tweak it out. I spent a little bit of time on this because it's such a fundamental part of the music. Tweaking the delay, tweaking everything to make sure it fits in. And
then you got that nice little roll part at the end, right?
Digga-digga-doom.
Yeah, that's nice to roll through the end of the phrase.
That's drill music. Thank you, the South.
Sweet. So let's play through a little bit more of it. I know you tracked all your own vocals, which is, and you tracked all this. I mean, this is you and Reason in the studio, hitting record and going and playing, right? Always, not necessarily always the best idea, according to some people here at Pyramind.
Some people here at Pyramind. It definitely.
But if you don't have an engineer you're working with, it's what you got to do, right?
So it is what you got. You have to, and you do know you have to do what you have to do. It's common knowledge.
What'd you use for a vocal mic? Remember?
Of course, I used the AKG. And
414?
The 414.
Yeah.
And I used it because it has a really nice, you can hear the crispness. It's got a really good presence to it. It works for pop, at least for me. I've been using it for a long time. So I kind of just stick with what I know.
They're great mics. And then you did, if we swing down through the vocal takes, there's a ton of vocal takes. So clearly you did take after take after take to get really what you wanted. And then you're layering harmonies. And talk a little bit about your vocal production process, because obviously there's a lot here.
Yeah, so I like to. There's a process I call it the freestyle process, and it's done by a lot of people. Like Lil Wayne's big on it. A lot of rappers are big on it. So I like to use those techniques and apply them to my own music. So what I'll do when I'm looking for harmonies, mind you, things like the lyrics and the main vocals I've already written. But when it comes to sorting out things in the track, I go in the booth and I just full bore blast it. Let it out, pure emotion. Don't worry about the lyrics. Don't worry about being perfect. When I'm like fishing. I'm trying to find the right part.
I like that.
In that state of free flow, free form, freestyle, at least for me as an artist, it comes to me more easily. So as a result, you get really good vocals. You also get a bunch of extra tracks that you don't really want, which is what we're looking at.
Okay.
But you pick
Nothing
through.
wrong with that, though. It's digital, right? And that's
yeah,
the
it's
beauty.
digital. No film replacement here.
So play a little bit and let's just maybe solo your vocal.
I could see you through that glass, water rolling down your back, baby. And I was sipping when you threw it on me. Sun setting on your frame, my ukulele, baby. Ooh, I tried to forget you, but I can still remember.
And a little tail out delay there too. That's nice, man, because they're really subtle, right? They're really subtle harmonies, and the first time you listen to the track, I don't even know that you necessarily catch them, because they're they sit back pretty far in the mix, but especially when they're soloed, it's like, oh, there's so much nice texture going on there, and it's only 2 or maybe 3 parts, right? Is what you just soloed for, so it's not like you've got 37
freaking stacked,
takes, right?
Not visibly at least.
Yeah,
but
well, I want to know what you're actually hearing, right? You maybe recorded that much to get there, but again, I think the kind of throwback mentality that you have dictates that keeping it simple works really well, right? So you've got a pair of harmonies behind your main vocal, and it sounds really nice. So last thing I want to talk about is the guitar solo at the end, which is pretty burning, and that's all you too, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's play a little bit of that, because the guitar tone's clearly different. And did you use an amp modeler on that too? I
did.
Okay, different settings obviously than the auto wah.
People were fighting me on the hard, crunchy kind of rock feel. They were like, I want to hear something smoother, and I was like, no, we're bringing them all the way there with the hard feel.
We know what I like.
We do.
At this point.
You see the beard. So we're gonna take
a little bit. You can play it the whole mix if you want. Probably a little more indicative with it in there. Nice. Yeah, it's kind of like a Prince vibe. I mean, I hate to go there because
you can go there. That's a huge compliment.
It ain't him.
It's not Prince.
I'm not. Come on now. But it's got that vibe to it, right? It's like a super mellow R&B track with a pretty screaming rock guitar solo. He's done that. I'm not saying you play like Prince, but I love you. But
I don't play like Prince. You won't hear nothing like that.
But it's got that vibe, and I think it comes out of left field too, right? Because it's obviously a guitar-driven song, but you don't expect it to go there. And I'm always a fan of songs doing something that fits, but it's not really necessarily expected. So the first time you hear this track all the way through, it's like, oh snap! It's kind of a hot little guitar solo there at the end.
Thank you, man.
So I don't know. Is there anything else we didn't cover that you wanted to kind of point out? This is your baby.
Well, I think just the idea of having a guitar solo, mind you, at this point in making music, I've gone through the phase of just making beats that kind of create themselves or like not going into it with an idea. So everything I did on purpose, the 808, the placement, everything, the arrangement, and having a guitar solo in a hip hop song is something that I wanted to do on purpose because it's different, and it's, of course, you can point out examples of it being, present in the popular media now. But I think it's freaking cool, man. Like, I have the track isolated in the performance version, so I'm playing the solo for them live, and that's not something that you really get a lot of, at least these days that I know of. And not only is it cool for me as an artist musically, but in the performance and in delivering something for the people as an experience that's different. I think it's just cool, man.
Let's talk a little bit about. We just released this week, right?
Yes.
And so it's out on all the major download and streaming
iTunes,
outlets. Through
Spotify.
You use who?
CD Baby.
CD Baby. And you're starting to get a little bit of interest peaked, right? You're getting a little bit of blog spins. Are you getting some internet radio and some things like that?
Yeah.
So is that all just you on the hustle and the grind? Are you working with anybody? What's that look like?
So I have some friends in the web blog business, and I know a bunch of DJs. So as soon as I dropped this, I blasted a few emails out to these cats, and after a couple days, I get some tweets. Get some emails from some blogs saying they're posting it, and it's just a cattail game. People pick up on it sooner. People pick up on it later. I have some songs from like years ago that people are picking up, and it's just cool that people respond and react to the music that I like, because I made it for them in the first place. So the fact that they like it is cool.
Awesome. So it's Skytye. Single's called I Still. Go check it out. Thanks for your time, buddy. I'm glad we do this. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right on. See you next time.
I can still remember you.
If you're a music producer, subscribe to our channel and stay up to date on the latest Pyramind tutorial videos, track breakdowns, elite sessions, and more. Visit us at pyramind.com.
I can still remember.